My dad has always taught me to want more for myself and keep going no matter how good of a place that I think I'm at.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is your host and friend Devang Sharma, and I welcome you to my channel. First of all, I'm very happy to see the raise in numbers of subscribers and views. It means that you guys are liking the video. Make sure, guys, when you are liking a video, you also put a comment as well as like the video so that I can know what is the next topic that you want me to cover in the video. In today's session, we have a very special guest with us, Tyler Young from North Carolina State University. He has done a Google SPS participant. He has been a Facebook ABCS participant. He has interned with companies like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. And the best part, he's just a junior in college. Being at such a tender age, he has got such of exposure with working with great companies and multiple projects, both from technical perspective as well as non-technical perspective. So in today's session, he's going to discuss you some of the key points that how make him as a better programmer as well as a better professional. So let's hear out from the Tyler and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Hi, Tyler. Have a good afternoon. Thanks for joining in here.
No problem. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. How it's going there?
It's going great. It's going great.
Okay, sure. So, Tyler, for our audience, can you give a brief intro about your experience as well as your brief introduction about yourself?
Right. So my name is Tyler Young. I'm currently a junior in college attending North Carolina A&T State University, and I'm majoring in computer science. So over the course of my few years in college, I've worked with multiple companies like JP Morgan Chase, Google, Facebook.
Like you work with all the premium companies here, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Google, and Facebook, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, to our audience, can you please explain what is a SPS program? Like, how can we apply for it? How does the selection process goes? And how, as a freshman or how as a professional, how we can apply for SPS program? Who is it for and who can apply?
Yeah, so the Google SPS program is basically it's actually an invite only program.
Okay.
Um, so I've been actively applying to Google year after year since I've been in college, and I've been getting to the final interview rounds every time without an actual offer though. But the program itself for SPS is a 10-week program where in the first couple of weeks you basically learn full stack development. Like it doesn't matter if you had experience with it at all. Like they start teaching you within the first 3 weeks of it. And then after that, you're put into a team of 4 people, and and basically you guys come up with an idea, like any idea for a web app that you want to come up with.
Okay. Okay. More or less, you've covered everything about the impact and the kind of work you do there. Just one follow-up question here. As you mentioned, it's an invite-only program. So, what are some of the criteria that the candidates get invite based upon?
So the criteria would be, um, I know that you have to either have interviewed with Google in the past for you to be considered for it, or if you have like a school event or like something like that where you meet a Google recruiter or something, they could write your name down and like have your resume ready, and you could potentially get the invite from there. So
Okay, okay. So basically, a connection with Google will be there, right? Either you have interviewed in the past or some Google recruiter, any in-house event or off-house event, but some connection should have been there. So it should be basically in their database so they can filter it out. I
right.
also heard from one few of the participants like the contests like Google Code Jam and Google Kickstart. They also provide such kind of opportunities to get an invite via SPS. I just want to confirm with you, like, is it true or is it that they apply for these contests, they also get such invites?
Wait, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, for the contest like Google Code Jam and Google Kickstart, right? These computer programming competitions. Like some of the participants have said like they got invite via their performance in these rounds. So
Right.
is it like they get performance via these rounds as well?
Yeah. Honestly, anywhere where Google recruiters or anybody that's like related to Google
Okay.
can see your talents, then you'll potentially be able to get invited to that program.
Okay. Cool. That sounds really good. So can you talk a brief about your experience and the challenges that you encountered as a SPS participant and how did you tackle it?
Right. So like I said, it was a 10-week program.
Okay.
A week program where within the first couple of weeks we were taught full stack development and connecting to databases depending on what you need,
Yeah.
what you're going to need for your project. So so after the initial learning process that I had to go through, learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all of that, and Java.
Yeah.
I'm mainly comfortable with back end, but my teammates were mainly comfortable with back end as well, and didn't have any experience with front end. So
Okay.
that's how I ended up taking on the responsibility of the front end portion of my project. So
Okay.
that was definitely the challenges for me, because it was a lot of researching, a lot of Stack Overflow. I mean, like everything that I need to just to help me be able to develop it, because I'm not too familiar with front end, but I was able to figure it out in the end.
Okay. That sounds like really fun, exploring into a new field and then just emerging it out at the spot only. Yeah. So you have to showcase your project to some team or something like this? Like is it kind of like you have on hackathons?
Yeah. So we made a mentor matching app, where basically, like,
Okay.
if a mentor or a mentee wanted to find like the opposite, they would be able to do it. It's almost like Tinder. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's kind of like Tinder. You find your match like that,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the last week, we ended up presenting to a whole bunch of people from Google, and like they brought friends and stuff. So it was a big conference that we had there.
Okay. Okay. That sounds really good. I'm pretty sure you must have enjoyed a great time there.
Yeah, it was definitely a great time, great experience.
Yeah. As you have mentioned that you have worked with Facebook as well, like I can see from your profile as a Facebook ABCS program, right? So can you give a brief intro to about audience, like what is a Facebook ABCS program? What is the duration about it? How you can apply and what is the interview process and all?
Right. So Facebook ABCS is basically a program that you meet. It's for 10 weeks as well.
Okay.
During the school year, you have to be in college to participate in it. But it's basically to help students be able to prepare for the technical interview process, because I know a lot of students aren't they usually don't. When you're a freshman, you don't know, oh, I
Yeah.
need to study in technical interviews. So this program is to help you with that. Now, as far as applying for it, I'm pretty sure you could just apply on their website. It's usually in the fall. So that's how I found out about it. I'm usually actively applying to different kinds of programs and internships, and I just came across it. I just came across it one day. So
That's really a very important trick that you share. Like keep applying to different progresses, and as much as you grow into the progress, you'll get better opportunities along the way. So thanks a lot for giving that point. Yeah.
that
So as you mentioned, like it's available on the website. So it's not an invite only program, right? Anybody can apply to it.
Definitely anybody can apply. I think the only thing about it is that when you apply, you have to write an essay. I forgot exactly what the question was in the essay, but it's usually just like a short 500 word essay or something like that. Nothing too serious.
Okay, basically explaining why you are the right fit for this program. Something
Right.
question like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So can you talk about your brief experience as ABCS participant in Facebook, the challenges that you got there and the kind of impact that you driven?
Right. So Facebook ABCS, for me, it was honestly an early introduction to data structures and algorithms.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't take the class in school yet, so this was a good early introduction to it.
Okay.
Um, it also, I mean, honestly, it was we only met once a week for an hour. So, or no, I think it was about like an hour and a half, maybe two. And so it wasn't really a program that if you only attend the program, you're gonna be the best computer science man. Like it's not like that. It's really the most out of what you make it. Like you have to take what they give you, take notes, and then go ahead and apply that on like Leak Code, HackerRank, and just keep practicing from there.
Okay. Okay. That's very good. That's something really, really interesting to know about, especially for the first timers, right? Those who don't have any exposure with technologies, data structures, algorithms, and system design, right? For them, it's like a first exposure to it, a first bridge to the technological world. This sounds something really good. Okay. So as you have mentioned, Tyler, it brings up to my next question. You work with so many great companies like Google, Facebook, and JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. So with your all of your experience, what would you think the kind of technologies have you worked and the kind of impact that you've created?
Yeah. So as of right now, I've worked with technologies like Java, Python, front end stuff like Angular.
Okay.
I was honestly first introduced to programming when I was about 14 and by a tutor. Honestly, it was by a tutor in school. They saw that I was good with math, so they just wanted to try it out, see if I was good with it. And from there, I knew that this was something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
I just saw that you were capable of building like stuff like video games, and I like just from there, like I knew that I played a lot of video games and I didn't know how they were made. And the fact that I don't know why when I was 14 I didn't think that it was the hardest thing in the world to build a hangman game or something like that. So I feel like it kind of came natural to me. So using Python and Java to create all this stuff, it was just a great experience for me.
Okay. So yeah, applying to such great universities and applying to such great companies and working with them. How would you recommend anybody who is as a freshman, right, or first friend who has no experience about it? How what is the strategy that you would apply for a freshman, like what to follow in their college years? How it can be related to networking, it can be related to technology from your personal experience.
So I would tell people to be actively applying to everything and anything. So a lot of people try to only apply to the big dog companies like Google and Facebook, but I knew that I couldn't rely on hoping to get one of these. So
Okay.
honestly, I just applied for anything that said software engineering that I was eligible for as a freshman, sophomore,
Okay.
whatever I was. I just went ahead and applied to it because I knew the experience would be better than anything.
Yeah, yeah. So that's basically the advice of nothing. Something is better than getting nothing, right? So
Right.
that's one strategy and that's one spirit that I really appreciate. Thanks for putting this out. Okay. So after coming from so many good companies, working with so many great technologies, what are the personal tips that you want to share from your professional journey?
I would say, like I was saying before, obviously apply to everything and anything. But as far as if you're able to get into one of these companies, I would say don't feel like you have to know everything or honestly anything because they really don't expect you to know anything.
Okay.
It's all just a big experience. Like you're gonna go into it. They're going to ask you to do something, build something that you're in your mind is going to be like, I've never heard of any of this in my entire life.
Okay.
But the whole thing is just a learning experience, and by the time you come out of it, you're gonna know way more than you did just from learning whatever you learned in school.
Okay. So the only thing that I have to summarize is the only thing they're looking for is you have to be very, very good with your fundamentals, right? And
Right.
problem solving. So if you're good with your fundamentals and problem solving, that's the only thing they need. They don't need the very high tech savvy people and all, right?
Right. Honestly, to get the opportunities, I would say just study leak. First study your data structures and algorithms, and
Yeah.
then once you feel kind of comfortable with that, I would say move on to platforms like LeetCode and HackRank. That's what I use personally, and
Yeah.
just keep preparing for those interviews because one company eventually they will say yes.
Yeah. I appreciate the spirit that you have shown that. That's really good. And even I recommend it on my personal YouTube channels as well. Lead Code, Hacker Rank, Hacker Alert, and the communities like Interview Bait. These are really, really good questions. And for taking participants in contests like Code Forces and Code Jam, Google Code Jam, and Kickstart. Like these really help you become better problem solver. And some of trust me or not, because in the coding interviews and the technical interviews, these things come up. When you're good with the data structure algorithm, you are able to crack the interviews very quickly.
Right.
Yeah, that's one thing I appreciate about it. Yeah. So Tyler, that brings on to my next question. As you mentioned about Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, right? These are investment banking companies. And Google and Facebook, they are most like the tech giants of it. They don't have a specific domain, they be end-to-end customers, right? But this investment bank, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, they're more on the investment banking side. So how was your experience working for the investment banking firms and what are the technologies that you worked on?
So with the investment banks, actually those were just internships that I applied to and they actually weren't even software engineering. I wanted to get the feel for like what kind of company that I think I would be most comfortable working at after college. So with
Okay.
JP Morgan, I was put in an environment where I was working on something other than like computer science stuff and software engineering. I would be working on like PowerPoint presentations, like teamwork, a lot of teamwork stuff. But at the same time, I was able to build my network with software engineers that were there, and have a mentor that was also a software engineer there. So I could still get that tech feel, as well as just explore different areas in that industry.
Okay. So even despite being from a technical background, you want to explore more into the non-technical background as well, just to
Right,
identify which company will be the right fit for your skill set. Correct?
right.
That's really good. That's really good. And how did you get the opportunity to apply for Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan? How was the interview process like, and how did you get shortlisted?
So like I was saying before, I everything that any company that I saw was posting
You applied.
software engineering or just an internship that I felt that would help me personally, I just
Okay.
applied to it and just hope for the best. But as far as the interview progress, as far as the interview process with JP Morgan, it was really just a one-on-one session where they would ask you basic behavioral questions like why JP Morgan, or just tell me a little bit about your background, just behavioral questions that you could like search up online and
Okay.
prepare your answers for. Nothing too crazy because it wasn't technical.
Okay. And what about the Goldman Sachs?
The Goldman I actually didn't have to interview for. It was strictly based on your resume. So as far as that, I would say just try to make projects as possible, and just build your resume as much as possible. Even if it's not through internships, just get your coding experience by building like cool projects that you could display to people.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds good. That sounds good. That will bring about a summarized question, basically a question that will summarize everything from you. So, how would you recommend a freshman or somebody who is just coming, just a newborn to a software engineering firm? What are the tips or what are the resources, what are the platforms that you would like to recommend, starting from the scratch, so that they can become a better software engineer along the way?
Right. So I feel like I see a lot of freshmen, like even when I was a freshman, I see a lot of freshmen strictly go to class, do their homework, and that's it. And honestly, that's not how you're gonna be able to
Yeah.
like get to really where you want to be. You're gonna get to your first job and realize that you really don't know much, or like even in the technical interview, you're not gonna be able to solve it because you're on strictly going to class. So if
Yeah.
you're a freshman, I would strictly recommend, don't just take computer science as a class. Take it as like something like almost like a hobby. Like you go home and just practice. You don't have to build a whole project in one day. As I was saying, I would just say go home, practice your skills. That's something that you have to practice on a day-to-day basis. You can't cheat your way through it or anything like that. I would say study data structure and algorithms. Once you get the fundamentals down, like if statements and for loops and all that, go through data structure and algorithms before you take the class, because you don't have to wait to take a class to learn something. Data structure and algorithms. Once you feel like you got that down, go to different platforms like LeetCode and HackerRank. And honestly, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be super hard at first, but again, like I said, it's the consistency. So once you keep solving those problems, it's gonna get easier from there. And that's how you're gonna be able to do it.
Yeah. And in the end, all the efforts are going to be worth it.
Definitely, definitely.
So very well said, Tyler. And I think you have summarized all of your professional journey as well as created the interview experience that you have been shared for Google SPS, ABCS, Facebook ABCS, and then we have Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. It's really great hearing from you. Now we have some informal session where we are asking a rapid fire round. Basically, questions related to you apart from your technological world, how good you as a person is, and just similar questions. Let me
Right.
know when you're ready for it and we can start.
No, I'm ready. You can go ahead.
Okay. So, what is your favorite hobby apart from doing computer science?
Honestly, I love playing video games. I love listening to music,
Okay.
playing playing basketball, and hanging out with my friends during my free time.
Okay. Okay. Who is your favorite singer?
My favorite singer?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of, I don't know if this is considered old school, but I honestly love listening to Michael Jackson.
Okay.
He's really
Okay.
talented to me. Yeah, I think his music is, we'll be able to listen to that forever, honestly.
Okay. Everybody has their own chair. Like it's nothing like old school or anything. It's just
Yeah.
like whatever you want to listen. Yeah. Great. Okay. Who is your role model?
My biggest role model is definitely my father, because he gives me the most motivation to keep going and to never settle. I've
Okay.
accomplished I've accomplished a lot at a young age that I'm at now, but my dad has always taught me to want more for myself and keep going no matter how good of a place that I think I'm at, because it
Okay.
can all be taken away in an instant. So I always just keep going no matter what because of him.
There's always a higher mountain to climb. That just remind me of a very good statement. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate that about your father. Okay. What is the dish? What's your favorite dish to eat?
I honestly love like any kind of pasta, like any kind of pasta. I'll eat that. Like that. I
Okay.
would say.
Okay. Sure. Last question for this is: what is your favorite movie or a web series?
Um, I don't think I have a favorite movie, but I do have a favorite show right now.
Okay.
It's on Hulu. It's called Rick and Morty. It's actually a
Yeah.
very funny show.
Yeah. Like it has a billions of fans, including me. It's a really good show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we can wrap this session up. Like it's a really great whatever we talked about in terms of Google SPS program, Facebook APCS program, the kind of work you have done, the technical challenges that you have solved, what has been your experience, and you're working with Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and your personal interview tips. It has been really great talking to Tyler. Just to wrap up this session, any one or two line of advice that you want to give to the freshmen?
Just stay consistent. Stay consistent. Don't give up. Everything is hard until it's not hard. That's my mentality. Everything is hard until it's not.
Yeah, okay. So that's it, Tyler. Thanks for this wonderful. It's not just like a tech recorder. It feels like I'm in a motivational talk or something, to be honest, because that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. Not just you're a very technical profession, but you're a very strong kind of a motivational expert as well. Have you tried giving motivational talks, by the way?
No, I never thought about it. I usually try to motivate my friends, but no, I've never
Okay.
thought about
Okay. That sounds good, Tyler. Thanks for your time. I think this is really, really wonderful. Really great for you, and see you soon.
it. Thank you.